Hey, it's 6 p.m. Thursday, July 27th. I'd like to call the meeting of the Glendora Water Commission together and welcome everybody. For the audience tonight, Glendora utilizes a hybrid meeting format to allow for participation both in person and virtually. And in consideration of others and business conducted tonight, please silence your phones and any electronic devices and refrain from speaking unless recognized. If you're interested in speaking during the public comment, public hearing process, speaker cards are located in the lobby near the rear of the chamber. Please fill out a card and submit it to the recording administrator. For those participating via Zoom, please select hand raise icon in Zoom before the close of public comment, public hearing period, and you will be recognized and unmuted. Again, this is a public meeting in the city of Glendora for the Water Commission, and we appreciate your participation here this evening. So, Madam Clerk, would you please call roll?
Thank you, Chair. I will now conduct roll call. Commissioner David Thomas,
Here.
Commissioner Cece.
Here.
Commissioner Holmes.
Present.
Commissioner Lammers,
Present.
Chair Hansen.
Present.
Let the record show all commissioners and chair are present.
All right, David, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, reordering or additions to the agenda. Does anybody wish to reorder or have any additions to the agenda for this evening? Okay. Hearing none, we'll move on to the public comment period. And I have not received any public comment cards or.
As well, Chair, I have no public comment cards, and checking on Zoom, there is no one on Zoom for any public comment.
Okay. Well, then we'll close the public comment period. Next, we'll move on to commission statements and reports. Any commissioners have any statements or reports they want to make this evening?
The only thing I actually would is I appreciate the emails, the ones you've sent out periodically about major line damage and so forth. It's good to know. It just kind of gives us a idea in between these meetings of the things that are going on. So just, yeah, so good stuff on that. Thank you.
Richard. I'd like to make a personal note. I took advantage of the WaterWise Consulting program. They came out and did a great review of my property. I'm the proud owner of a new smart controller for my sprinkler system. And man, that thing works great. That's way better than the old system that I had. So it was a neat program, and the people who run it are really great guys.
Good, great. Thanks. Thanks, Armando. All right, now directors, staff liaison, attorney statement. So Assistant Director of Public Works, Chisholm Obigowu. You have a
Yeah,
comment?
just a couple. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Firstly, we've talked about the infrastructure assessment quite several times in the last meetings. And so we've finally completed that, and we look forward to having a robust discussion around that come September 12th. So again, please bring all of your questions, and we'll try to have briefings with each of you to kind of give you an idea of what we're talking about. And we're very excited to bring that forward to you guys. And so that will be a joint special meeting with our council. And then just secondly, a warm welcome to Commissioner Lammers. I know this is his first meeting, so we look forward to working with you on the many initiatives that we're working on here at Glendora.
Thank you, Chisholm.
Confirm the meeting, that special meeting is in, when is it?
September 12th.
I think it's at 4 o'clock.
Yes.
So question, I actually just found out I have to potentially go to a trade show just found that out this last couple of days. Will I be able to log on Zoom on that?
Right, and we can coordinate to have you log on via Zoom. Yeah,
I'd
we'll-
like to attend. I just literally found out 2 days ago about
Certainly,
this.
and we'll work with our city clerk to make that available to you via Zoom.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
So Tuesday, September 12th, 4 p.m.
4 o'clock.
That's to discuss the rates or the rate review or
The
the,
rate study, so that's the infrastructure assessment and the rate study.
thank you very much. Thank you.
I see a couple more green lights, green lights, no? I'm very observant here. so.
I'm colorblind, so it's.
All right, next item, the special item is the administer the oath of office and reorganization for the term 23-24. We have at least one new director or commissioner and one returning commissioner with the oath of office needs to be administered.
Yes, thank you. And so at this time, I now invite Commissioner Sampson and Commissioner Lammers to the podium so I can administer your oath.
Yeah.
Just, you will repeat both at the same time, and I will be reading off this portion. I'll say I, and then you say your both of your names, and you can say that at the same time, okay?
You say your name, not mine.
All right, if you could raise your right hand.
I, Richard Hansen,
Do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies,
and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I bear true faith and alliance to the Constitution of the United States
That I will bear true faith
and
and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I will take this obligation freely
that I will take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties which I am about to enter.
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I'm about to enter.
You guys were so perfectly in sync that it sounded like it was just one voice.
That's what I was trying to do. I was practicing my,
Spot on.
my boys to men.
Yeah, well, if I'm introduced as MC Hammer, then I figure we better be
Yeah.
musical.
Oh, so, okay, yeah. So that was some reverb we heard there, I guess.
All right, now we will conduct the reorganization for term 2023-2024. At this time, I declare the offices of Chair and Vice Chair vacant. Nominations are now in order for Chair. Are there any nominations for Chair?
Nominate Mr. Hans.
I would second that.
Okay. So congratulations to Chair Hansen. I will now turn over the meeting to you to conduct the section of Vice Chair and the remainder of the meeting.
Okay, are there any nominations for vice chair? I'd like to nominate Mr. Holmes as vice chair.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Are there any other nominations? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Wonderful.
Okay, congratulations, Mr. Holmes. Okay, we have the consent calendar. And this is for the minutes of April 27th, 2023. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Second that.
Been moved. For a second?
Second.
Second, we've been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 You want us to, go
Yes,
through the-
I just opened it for vote.
Okay,
And can you repeat who that motion was by made that first?
was made by Mr.
Commis-
Holmes, seconded. Oh,
Okay. Lammers and then seconded by Holmes. And now we conduct oral roll call. Commissioner Thomas,
Aye.
Commissioner CC,
Yes.
Commissioner Lammers,
Aye.
Commissioner Holmes, Chair Hansen,
aye.
motion carries 5-0.
Do we have to,
Got it.
there we go.
Perfect. Next item. Yeah, I went ahead and I did it and then, yes.
Because I got ahead of you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was trying to steal your job.
And I'll be quicker on those motions. Thank you.
Again, this is our first time.
Yeah, yeah. All right, we have a water distribution update, and I call upon the water utility supervisor, Jason Forsberg, to make the presentation. Jason?
Good evening, Mr. Chair and fellow commissioners. I will be providing the water distribution update. In the fourth quarter of the fiscal year 22-23, the Water Division repaired 107 leaks, including mains, services, and fire hydrants, compared to 69 leaks fourth quarter fiscal year 21-22. And on the graph, you will see fiscal year 21-22 in blue, and then 22-23 in purple. So this graph that you guys see is comparing fiscal year leaks in total for 21-22 and fiscal year leaks total for 22-23. Again, fiscal year 21-22 is in blue and 22-23 is in purple. For fiscal year 21-22, we had a total of 221 main leaks, 51 service leaks, 28 fire hydrant leaks, totaling a number of 300. For fiscal year 22-23, we had a total of 236 main line leaks, 74 service leaks, and 32 fire hydrant leaks, with a total of 342. As you can see from the chart and graph, we are unfortunately trending in a rising fashion. And unfortunately, we are seeing that trend start for this new fiscal year that just started July 1st. As of now, from July 1st to today's date, we are at a record of 44 leaks so far this month. I'll be going over some notable fourth quarter water projects. First, we have the Willow Avenue and Bradford Drive main break. Then I'll be going over the South Wabash Avenue 1-inch services. And then moving on to 1755 South Grand Avenue 1-inch service. And then giving an update on one of our most recent main breaks on Eagle Ridge. So during our last meeting on April 27th, that evening, we were called out to Willow Avenue and Bradford Drive. We had an extensive main break. The photo on the left, you can see the damage that it caused, the water flowing down the street. And that is a photo of the intersection of Willow Avenue and Bradford Drive. On the right, you'll see where the damage was. It was at a welded cross, 6-inch cross. And you can see one of my team members making repairs and cutting it to the pipe to replace it. So here's the damage to the pipe. Because of that damage, we had about 80 homes out of water. So we acted fast. And during the middle of the night, our team got together and we had to secure parts from one of our suppliers. And they were able to deliver all those parts that morning. So the photo on the left, we're making the repairs. And then the photo on the right is the final repair. So we put in a new 6-inch cross and then use some flange or, excuse me, some flex joint couplings to connect it to the existing pipe. Right here on South Wabash Avenue, just east of Glendora Avenue and south of Route 66. We had to install 2 brand new 1-inch copper services as the other existing services were not meeting standards and were prone to leaking. I'll do this slide last. And I'll move on to the 1755 Grand Avenue service. So here we went across 3 lanes on Grand Avenue to restore service to median for irrigation for the plants. And then I'll move back to Eagle Ridge. So this is our most current emergency water project. So on the morning of July 12th, we received a call of water flowing down Eagle Ridge and Beaver Brook. We acted and responded quick, and as soon as we came out, there was probably a 4 to 6 foot river of water flowing down Eagle Ridge. And you can see the extensive damage that it caused, undermining about 30,000 square feet of pavement. So the photo on the left shows just a little bit of that damage of sinkholes, asphalt buckling. And then the middle photo is the damage as well. And then the photo on the right is a water distribution team digging down to make the repair. And to give credit to our team, we had a new section of main line installed, and we had water up and running in less than 2.5 hours. And currently I can give you guys some updates now. So we did have one of our emergency contractors. So we sent out a bid request to all 4 of our emergency contractors, and we selected Big Ben, and they are just started with mainline replacement from Beaver Brook all the way to the end of Eagle Ridge, which consists of about 1,500 linear feet of 6-inch and 8-inch pipeline. So we have replaced the ductile iron pipe that was placed out there in the early 90s with C909 plastic, because it'll be more resistant to the corrosive soil that is out there. So that was one of the major factors, was the corrosive soil eating away at that ductile iron, causing that main break. As of now, so they started Monday, as of end of today, they have installed just about the 1,500 linear feet. They have 30 feet left. And then tomorrow and Monday, they'll start on installing services, hydrants, and 3 sample stations that needed to be replaced. So we hope to have this project completed and finished probably within the next month or 2, and that includes repaving that entire street as well. Staff recommendation that the Water Commission receive and file the water distribution update. if you have any questions,
Chair.
Questions, Mike?
yes, sir.
The Beaver Brook water main break, I have a good friend that lives right there and
Yes.
he was just concerned, what's the typical call out for somebody to be there and how long, he said it took about 3 hours to get that line shut down.
No, that's incorrect.
That's, I told him.
Yeah,
that,
so we
but
have,
he's
we
my
have an
good-
hour
he's my
to,
good friend.
yeah, so we have an hour to respond.
Yeah.
So yes,
And that was ductile iron
correct, yes,
in the 1990s.
yes.
Was it covered with the polyethylene?
It had
plastic?
no cover and it was not bedded in sand.
Who approved that standard for the city? I mean, I know you guys probably weren't here, but
Yes,
that's not even AWWA standards for many, many years.
correct,
And if that's aggressive soil, you're just begging for that.
yes.
Okay, is our standard changed now where we're looking
Right.
at,
And
Correct.
just to add to that, I don't know that it was necessarily an issue of a standard. I think it was more so poor installation and poor inspection.
well, yeah.
Yes,
I mean, it should have been in the plans. That should be the polyethylene pipe, especially for aggressive soils.
correct,
But I mean, it just saves you time and
yes,
this wouldn't have never happened if it was covered, so.
absolutely.
So the C909 is corrosion resistant,
Yeah,
right?
it is a PVC
Yeah.
stuff.
Did they cut in more valves or was that necessary at all?
No,
So we had the valves, right? Valves is just the
correct,
corrosion of the lines. so.
correct, yes.
That's fun to watch that water roll down there, isn't it? You
Oh,
know, it's
no,
like-
not at all.
I've paid my career $1 million out in damages and stuff and like that, but it is a lot of water. It's nice to see.
Yes, it's
pressure
it's
and the-
amazing the power of what water can do.
Yeah, yeah, so.
So-
And the people are on water, right?
Yes, yeah, they were restored within, we shut the water line down and within 2.5 hours, they had water back in service.
And I presume if you've got ductile iron issues in this town, you're gonna have a lot more breaks. Is that why you have a lot of breaks? Is that corrosion?
No, we usually don't get breaks on our ductile iron. It's more of our steel from the 1950s.
Okay.
I think it was the first one you showed, the
The cross, yes,
you said there was 80 homes without water.
at least, yes.
Overnight. Is there?
Not,
any-
not overnight, no. We had to do, it was when we did the scheduled shutdown that morning. We sent
okay,
out,
so
yeah,
when
we
they
sent out notices specifically that morning to let them know that we're gonna be doing that emergency
And that was
work,
actually my question. I was just out of curiosity, what kind, how do those notices get sent out?
by hand. So we have, yeah, our team goes out, knocks on the door. And if they don't answer, we just leave
Oh, okay,
the notice there.
Okay.
Yes,
good, thank you.
yes.
That, Mr. Hanson,
Yeah,
Mr. Chair, that cross was corroded also, wasn't it? It looked like it was.
Correct, yes, at the bottom,
That's
yes.
ductile iron?
No, that was steel.
That was steel.
From the
but I couldn't tell,
1950s.
So.
Yes,
And then you
correct.
put the flexible joints on there just because the rigid pipes coming in, gave you some.
Correct,
Who-
yes.
Who was your supplier that came through for you?
That would be Western Waterworks.
Sure, yeah, that, just for knowledge purposes, so on the Beaver, the big one.
Brook, yes.
Beaver Brook, thank you. Sorry, I live on the other side of the hill. I don't know the streets. over there.
Yeah,
So you said that you guys restored water fairly quickly.
yes.
If that line was, and forgive my ignorance here on this, if that line was damaged and had to be this massive repair,
Yes.
what did you guys do to that to be able to restore water, but without having it leaking down the street?
So yeah, so what we did was, so we had a shutdown, so we shut the line down and isolated it when we arrived. And then we assessed it to see what kind of repairs that needed to be made. And we actually cut out about a 4 to 5 foot
Oh,
section of the pipe and replaced that section.
Okay, so you replaced that section and
Yes,
basically.
and then after further
fixed the
investigation,
Leak.
yes, we fixed the leak.
Gotcha, okay. I understand.
And
Okay,
people were restored. So while the leak was happening, everyone still had water.
right, gotcha.
But we
okay.
had to do the shutdown for about 2.5 hours to
Right,
make that
fix the leak
repair.
And then went
Correct.
back to.
So
okay,
then after we fixed the leak, we did further investigating
right, yeah.
and further discussions were had. And then that day we made the decision
To do
that that whole line would need to be
Okay, I
replaced.
gotcha.
Correct.
Thank you.
Ask a
Yeah,
question.
David.
After you fix the pipe, how do you go about refilling the eroded part of the soil to make sure that there's no damaged area there that will then subsequently settle more after you've made the fix?
Yeah, so what we did, we actually coned off that there was a section of that street that we could not drive on. The sections that were worse than others, we actually went through and put base material in there
Oh,
to fill those voids.
okay.
And we did have a whole section of that street closed off and we made a new section of that street drivable for the residents, so no one would be impacted. So they were able to have access up and down
Okay.
the street.
Thanks.
Mike, you had a question?
Yeah, you guys do a great job. Thank you. So this is steel mains on the mains. It's mostly steel mains that are leaking.
Correct, yes.
What is just cracks, splits, settling in the ground or? on the
It's
joints?
usually corrosion.
Okay.
Correct.
And then you've identified corrosive soils in the city where you can kind of do electrolysis or anything or what do you do?
Well, we do have some areas that have that, but not, most of it does not have that.
On the services, what are most of the leaks on the corp stop or the copper? Just the-
So most of the services that we come across, so we either have copper services
Yeah.
or we have galvanized services.
How about lead? No, just
No,
kidding,
no.
man. No lead, right? Yeah, no lead.
No
So,
lead. So it's usually on those galvanized services
Yeah,
that are
that's-
corroded.
yeah.
And then we replace those with copper when we
Yeah.
can.
And your policy is you take them up to the meter, after the meter, it's a customer's responsibility.
Correct, yes, correct.
And the fire hydrants, what's typical?
Fire hydrants are usually hit hydrants that get damaged, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The bumper stops people use. So-
correct, yes.
Got you. No problem. And most of the hydrants are dry barrels in this city, right? They're, Oh.
Yes and no. We
Okay.
do have a lot of older, well, I'm gonna say probably 25%, 75% dry and wet barrel.
thank you. You must have some very experienced crews out there. They get a lot of work. That's great.
Yes,
Good.
yeah, we are very busy.
How many construction crews do you have? Repair crews do you have?
So we have 2 crews now running, and that's just within probably the last 4 months that we were able to do that through hiring. And we still are fine tuning that, but so far it's been going really well.
Great.
And like I said before, this month has definitely tested us with over 42 leaks already just in 27 days.
Yeah,
so-
rain infiltration with, did it cause any settling of the ground or anything like that?
Not that we're aware of. It's mostly just age of the
Yeah.
infrastructure.
I get it. I'm getting older and I'm wearing out too. So the question for Chisholm is the budget, or Mr. Chair, let me address you, is the budget then for the repairs, emergency repairs, we voted for carry over to next year. How is that looking?
No, absolutely. And that was sort of the driving factor and the reason why we increased the budget for emergency contractors. As a matter of fact, we increased it by a total of about $600,000.
And I think a part of the rate study, where there's going to be some aggressive line replacement.
Absolutely. That is a plan, is to really ramp up our pipeline replacement program. Right now, we're doing about a mile to less than a mile a year. So ideally, we would like to increase that to about 2 to 3 miles of pipe replacement a year.
And I presume the water master plan has identified the most vulnerable areas.
That is correct. We prioritize it based on a number of factors, leak history and things of that nature.
Greg, you've been waiting patiently.
Well, first of all, I appreciate the team's efforts, especially seeing the large increase over the past couple of years, which is what, 15 to 25%. So my question maybe is towards Chisholm for the budget as we look at identifying the return on invested capital of the whole improvements you hear. I heard lines from the 50s, iron from the 90s. So question number one, is the road repair, does that come onto the water budget or is that a separate budget?
No, that is part of the water budget. And the reason why is because that is associated, the damage was caused because of a water repair.
Got it. So as we look at lining up the infrastructure, will there be assumptions of what are the reductions for breakage like that and reducing the repair budgets moving on with the investments?
No, absolutely. And that is a plan is really, and, we'll have graphics and analysis to show this, but the more line we can repair, the less, the more line we can essentially replace, the less repair we'll have to do moving forward, right? And so we have over 210 miles of pipeline in our system. I would say more than 50% of that is old steel mains from the 1950s, 1940s. And so we have a lot of work to do, and it likely will get worse before it gets better.
On these repair issues, can it be clarified what is infrastructure breakage? I guess you know, of these repairs? Is it mostly, is these increases these last 2 years because of the infrastructure?
It's primarily because of just antiquated infrastructure. And also, like I said, a lot of the times we tend to notice more breakages around this time in the summertime because we're running pumps that we don't typically run. And so when you have that added pressure and added flow to certain pipelines, you know, coupled with the fact that they are old, it tends to increase the number of breakages.
Thank you.
Okay, Pat.
Does geography have anything to do with that? I mean, the northern areas more elevated, higher, the elevated streets and so forth. Does that have anything to do with the propensity for leaks or breaks? or anything like
Yeah,
that?
certainly. So we tend to realize more leaks and breaks in pipelines that are closer to our booster stations. And as you know, a lot of our booster stations are typically located on the north side of our service area. And so, you know, when you have high amounts of pressure and flow coming out of that booster stations, again, you're going to realize more breaks and leaks.
Okay, so not the geography necessarily, but geography relative to the booster station.
Correct.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Okay, could I have a motion to receive and file a water distribution update?
Motion.
No?
Oh, you know what? Oh, okay. My bad. Sorry. I had to cheat. A second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded.
All right, so we have a motion made by Commissioner Thomas and seconded by Commissioner CC. Is that correct? Perfect. And now I'm going to conduct oral roll call. Commissioner Thomas? Commissioner CC?
Yes.
Commissioner Lammers?
Aye.
Vice Chair Holmes?
Aye.
Vice Chair Hansen?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Okay,
Thank you,
Great.
gentlemen.
thanks, Jason. Okay, next we have the Water Conservation Program update and management aide Armando De Jesus. Give us a presentation.
All right. Thank you, Chairman, Water Commissioners. My name is Armando De Jesus, Management Aide for the Water Conservation Section. And tonight I'll be providing the Water Conservation update for the fourth quarter of the fiscal year 2023. And just to give an overview of our current programs and how they're all going. Starting with the rebate program. In this slide, you can see a breakdown of every item that's been rebated in this quarter. The top rebated item this quarter was clothes washers, followed by dishwashers. And this slide shows a side-by-side comparison of how many applications we received in 2022, shown in blue, and 23 shown in orange. So in 2023, we rebated over $6,900 worth of items. We received 52 applications, and those items were physically inspected by Waterwise Consulting to verify that the items were actually installed. The estimated annual savings for installing these items is roughly around 387,000 gallons of water per year. Our water use efficiency surveys, 42 surveys were conducted by Waterwise Consulting during this time period. As you can see, there was a drastic increase number of surveys ever performed compared to last year. Majority of the surveys were requested by residents that received constant consumption notifications from city staff, and they required assistance locating those leaks. Our violations, we received 20 violations during the fourth quarter compared to 80 violations this time around last year. We contributed the reduction of the violations due to the gloomy weather that went on for about 6 months this year. And a lot of people stopped watering. They reduced their watering habits drastically. So less watering, less violations. Turf removal program, we received 16 new applications. 30 projects were completed. Residents removed a total of 48,000 square feet of turf, and we rebated over $104,000 back to our residents. We have 9 projects that have not reached completion, but are expected to be completed in the upcoming months. Since the program was established back in August of 2022, 107 projects were completed, 165,000 square feet of turf were removed, and a total of 301,840 rebates have been issued. It's estimated annual water savings of 5.6 million gallons per year. That number could increase by a lot of those residents that install artificial turf that requires no watering. So this is just an example of one of the completed projects. It was in the backyard. They removed their grass and they made it more of a sports area. So it's more useful, but not using water as well. Next one, very simple, front yard. They remove all the grass, put some drought tolerant plants, some decomposed granite, and it came out really, really nice. Our education and outreach, so starting with the social media. So these are a few posts and stories that were published on the city's social media accounts, which included the announcement of the poster and slogan contest winners, the Water Conservation Earth Day contest winner, promoting NWD's turf removal programs, and a few other programs as well. Three Valleys field trip. I'm sorry, this is a Cullen Elementary presentations. So staff conducted 2 assembly style presentations this summer to the 5th through 5th grade classes of Cullen Elementary. There was roughly around 220 students that went to both assemblies. In this picture, you can see our water conservation officer, Janet Tentler, teaching the students where their water comes from. And our 30 Valleys field trip. So staff organized a field trip opportunity to the treatment plant in Claremont for the 5th grade classes of Willow Elementary. They were given a tour of the facility and they learned basically how where the water comes from and how it's treated. Earth Day, once again, staff held a booth at our Earth Day festival where we handed out conservation items and flyers and promoting our conservation programs. We also hosted 2 drought tolerant landscape and design workshops. Lefebvre Elementary Earth Day Festival. So staff were invited to participate at this festival. The festival was funded using the grant award that they received through MWD, and phase 2 will commence in the fall of this year. Once the students come in, they're going to be given hands-on opportunities for them to plant their own gardens. Sample of water bill inserts that were included in the water bill statements the past couple months, promoting our rebate programs opportunities. Our poster slogan contest ceremony on May 3rd, we announced that the poster and slogan contest winners at a special award ceremony. I would like to personally thank Commissioner Dave Thomas and Justin O'Connell, who assisted in handing out the award certifications or certificates to the winners. In total, we had 15 winners, 1st through 3rd place winners, best slogan, 11 honorable mentions, and 5 teachers were awarded for submitting full class participation. Once again, staff collaborated with the library at the Summer Discovery Challenge event, where we provided information on water efficiency and handed out giveaways. We also took the opportunity to display the poster contest winners, as you can see behind Janet. The posters were rotated every week to spotlight every single winner. And finally, the mystery boxes you have on top of the dais. On July 1st, we officially launched a new program. So customers that open up a new water account are provided with a free water conservation kit. The box includes various promotional conservation items. And last week, we received some really good news. We actually requested some MAP funding through 30 Valleys, and we were awarded some funding which will essentially pay for the boxes. So we receive a total of $9,200. Our conservation reduction figures are starting with the 2022-23 comparisons. So we use these figures to help staff assess our current programs or how our conservation programs are being effective. So year-to-date percentage is 25.32% reduction in water usage. And then the 2020-2023 comparison. So these are the figures that matter the most. These are the figures that we're actually submitting to the states. So as you can see, we have a 22.98% reduction as well. So NWD in 30 Valleys. So NWD has added a tree planting incentive to their existing turf replacement program. So the program currently requires participants to install at least 30 plants per 100 square foot turf that is being removed. The installation of one tree will suffice of the 3 plant requirement. So they're trying to push residents to not just put drought tolerant plants, but put trees back into our front yards or backyards. Our SoCal Gas partnership, SoCal Gas has installed a total of 37 toilets, 13 controllers, 7 host bib irrigation controllers, and energy emergency kits. They give out 3 of those. Estimated annual savings is 550,000 gallons of water per year. Our Charter Oak and Glendora Unified School District, Waterwise Consulting has completed the water surveys. Staff is coordinating with each school district with a program that SoCal Gas actually administers that offers exclusively for public agencies that can provide free indoor water savings incentives. Our conservation plan, just looking ahead, Waterways Consulting, we're working on creating a new commercial and water use assessment plumbing and fixture upgrade program. Our current program is only, it is directed more to residential programs, but we are extending that to our CII customers as well. We're also going to continue promoting the free irrigation repair and smart controller programs and our water use efficiency surveys at all of our events at the city website. And we're currently working on creating a new social media post to market that program or all of these programs. Our Eagle Area and the California Data Collaborative, staff has met with both companies and we're in the process of receiving bids from them. Once we receive those bids, we will make a decision on which program we would like to use and to assist us to meet our state urban water use objective. And then last but not least, our upcoming events, this National Night Out's literally around the corner. It'll be next week, next Friday at Finkenbeiner Park. It actually starts at 5:30. And then Flashback Classic Car Show, it's coming August 19th. This year, the Chamber of Commerce and the Kiwanis decided to open up the event to the public and it will be completely free of charge. There will be no fences, so anyone that would like to join can join. And they're actually extending it to, I believe, on Foothill and south of Foothill as well. So there'll be a lot more participants. So we are expecting a much larger crowd this year. And that concludes my presentation.
Great. Any questions of Armando?
Pat, I have one, thank you.
Yeah.
The turf rebate program did I read that it's no longer accepting applications? That's done or?
That is correct. So we completely ran out of funding, but we are pushing the MWD program through social media as well and any kind of marketing stuff that we do push. But unfortunately, that money went out really fast.
Okay, thank you.
The posters themselves, for the award winners, beautiful. Some of them were very, very nice. Do you know if those students also submit them to Three Valleys or the Metropolitan Water District for inclusion in their annual calendar?
That program is specifically for us. So MWD does any posters that go on those calendars is just for their program.
Okay.
But we are planning on marketing our own calendar using all those
I think a
posters.
couple of those could have gotten into MWD's calendar
Yes.
had they been submitted to them. So it's.
Exactly.
so something-
We'll
something
check
look
to
at.
see if they could essentially submit it for both programs for next year.
Yeah, next year.
Yes.
Okay, no more questions. Can I have a motion to receive and file the conservation program update?
Motion.
Sure. Second,
We have a motion made by Holmes and seconded by Commissioner CC. I will now open it. All right, and I'll conduct oral roll call. Commissioner Thomas. Commissioner CC,
yes.
Commissioner Lammers,
Aye.
Vice Chair Holmes.
Aye.
Chair Hansen.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay, thanks, Armando. Okay, item number 6. Item number 6 is the update on Engineering Division Water CIP projects. Assistant Public Works Director Chisholm Obigowu is going to give us an update.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. And so, yes, I'll be reporting on this item in the absence of Malia. So if we can go to the next slide. Really, we have 6 active projects currently. Majority of them are pipeline relocation projects. And if we go to the next slide, this table enumerates all of our active projects. Items 1, 2, or 3 are ongoing active projects, pipeline replacement projects. One thing I should add about these projects is we are, in light of these corrosive soils that we're encountering in the city, we are potentially looking at utilizing C909 for majority of our capital pipeline replacement projects, especially as we roll out the assessments. And then just monitor it, monitor it over the span of 5 to 10 years and see how it performs in comparison to our ductile iron pipes, and see if we get better performance from those pipes. Item 4, which is the chlorine metering pump replacement project, we actually decided to postpone this project until the fall. This project is replacing all of our pumps at the San Gabriel plant, which will require about a 2 to 3 week shutdown. And when we shut our San Gabriel plant down, which means we have to purchase water for 2 to 3 weeks. A couple of reasons why we don't want to do that in the summertime. Number one, we can certainly get better rates from Three Valleys if we purchase that water during off-peak hours. The peak hours peak months are typically from August to about, I would say June to about August. So if we can get that done in the fall, we can get better rates on that. But also, secondly, we can avoid disruption to our operations, especially in the heat of the summer. And then item 5, which is the North Glendora Reservoir Replacement Project, we actually have a community outreach event that is August 23rd, and which will allow us to really engage the community, inform them of the project, and allow them to ask any questions they may have. We have some really engaged residents up there, and so we want to make sure that they're involved in this project and have an understanding of what to expect during construction and what the schedules are for that project.
Where is that located?
That is at the terminus of North Glendora up in the foothills. That's Glendora Avenue.
Have you made a determination whether it's going to be 1 reservoir or 2?
We have, so we are going to go with 2 reservoirs, which will just allow us flexibility to have operational flexibility in case we need to maintain one over the other. And so I believe that concludes the report. If we go to the next slide. And so the recommendation of staff today is to receive and file the update of the engineering division CIP program.
Any further questions for Chisholm? Okay. You have a motion to approve the engineering CIP project update.
We have a motion made by Commissioner Thomas and second by Vice Chair Holmes. I will now conduct oral roll call, and I opened it for voting. Commissioner Thomas,
Aye.
Commissioner Cece,
Yes.
Commissioner Lammers,
Aye.
Vice Chair Holmes, Chair Hansen.
Aye.
Let the record show motion carries 5-0.
Okay, the next item we're going to move on to is item number 7 on the agenda, the water production update. Production Supervisor Ron Nitschke will give us an update on that. Ron?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. Good evening. So my update is for 3 of the projects that we've undertaken and also are in the process of. Well 12 was a full rehabilitation, which was taken out of service last year due to production losses. You can see in the picture with all the piping on your left that, and then the one in the middle, the columns didn't come out as easily as they anticipated, so everything had to be torched. So again, all those pipes had to be replaced since it was difficult to take out. The picture on the right is a view looking down into the well, and that shiny spot in the middle is the water table at that time. Here you can see the reinstallation. The picture on the left are the bowls, the pump section, first going in, and then the new column pipe and shafts on the back of the truck, and then the picture of the full installation of the well back in production. It went back in production July 5th. Part of this delay was also due to the amount of equipment that needed to be replaced. and some of the difficulty in acquiring pipeline or the piping and whatnot. Here we have well 5 electrical work due to vandalism. This was taken out of service on what I have here. March 19th, vandals came in the night and killed power at the panel and proceeded to cut and rip out the wiring on the panel, which caused obviously the well to go down. All components were replaced. The drive and the soft start didn't suffer any damage. Those were taken out, cleaned and bench tested. Here you can see the new wiring that's been installed and also the security. We had heavy gauge square tubing that was welded on the inside of the cage, so it looks a bit like a lion's cage. Those are 6 inches on center, and then all the locking areas were also covered in heavy gauge steel, so you can't access the locks with bolt cutters. So we also added additional security lighting. So you can see in the picture below the security lighting that's out there, since this is a standalone out in the golf course out there at Azusa. This well is currently up and running and doing well. No other issues for vandalism have been seen. And then also booster 1 that was taken out of service for a leaky mechanical seal. You can see in the picture on the left, they're pulling out the pump section, and then a better view of that on the crane being taken out. This booster is the first one that's been taken out like this at the yard out in Azusa. In this next slide, you can see the wear that they came across on the bowls. They're in the process. Actually, this is from cavitation. So this is still out. The pump company is in the process of giving us their idea or their recommendations on how to alleviate the cavitation. And then the 2 photos on the right, the original installation, they had to cut the bolts that anchor it down the pump to the pump base. It was a poor installation, so they had to jackhammer out underneath the base plate and remove all the concrete packing underneath so they could remove the rest of the bolts, and then in reinstallation access the bolts. We're not going to put it back the same way that it was. And as we have to pull the additional pumps, we're going to have to do the same thing for all those because they're all set up the same way.
I would think from cavitation for booster pumps, it's probably just a poor design of how the flow is coming into the sump and being lifted out. So-
Yeah, the suction line is a 42-inch suction line. And it does provide adequate water, but somewhere there is a flaw. So
Mhm.
we're waiting to hear back on the engineering
Yeah.
on what their recommendations are on this.
Yeah.
The well.
Get your mic.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Did well 12, the ECA yield increase after the rehabilitation?
Yes, well 12 is our highest producing well. That well is currently producing 3,200 gallons a minute, which gives us about 4.6 million gallons a day. Last year at this time, and this is in part due to the rains and the snowpack that we had, but last July at this time, the pumping level for that well was, I believe, 136 feet. And the GPMs were a little over 1,300. So with this increase in the water table and in the design or in the new pumps, we're getting an additional 2,000 gallons a minute out of this
Very good.
well. So it's nice to have.
And you replaced the column, the bowls, everything, right?
Everything was redone. The motor was rewound, new insulation, new bearings, everything was resurfaced.
What year was it drilled?
I have to get back to you on
No,
that.
no problem. And did you perforations are the same? Were you,
Perforations are the same. The bowls are set at about 230 feet.
and you're pulling water from way up higher, just let it flow into the,
We haven't had any issues with water or air entrained in that. So we won't see the same issues as we do on this booster with cavitation.
Well 12 is at the San Gabriel plant,
Does it say yes?
which you have several other wells there as.
There are 4 wells on site. The well 5 with the electrical vandalism is a standalone farther out
Yeah.
into the golf course.
Are the other wells needing to be rehabbed as well?
Well, part of the infrastructure study that we'll be doing
Yeah.
is we're gonna be doing 1 well a year, taking out and analyzing and rebuilding it.
Great.
Just this well alone, the cost of the well to rehab it, if we were to purchase that amount of water, we make up that, it pays itself back in 2 weeks.
Right.
As opposed to what it costs us to produce the water. So it's definitely beneficial for us to produce
Right.
our own water.
Very good.
who did the rehab?
General pump. The motor goes out to Salzer.
Uh-huh.
They've got probably the best shop, I think, in the area for analyzing and making repairs.
More questions?
On that vandalism, has that happened before? Or is this?
No, we haven't had any issues out there at all. In the 20 years I've been here, the worst we ever get is tagging.
Yeah.
So this is the first time, and I think in part it's because the golf course that was out there had been closed during COVID. So there was a lot more foot traffic out there and just didn't have the same amount of people and activity that we've had in the past.
You know what that cost was to do all that rehab on all that electrical?
The cost was about 40,000
Wow.
to do the rehab on that, including the security updates. Then they probably got about $200 worth of copper. Probably about $200 worth of copper was what they sold it for.
Do we have any kind of security at any of our wells locations? I mean, just generally speaking.
Everything is
Okay.
fenced off and or has walls around it, but we also, part of the infrastructure, will be putting up additional lighting and cameras as
I was
well.
gonna ask about the cameras.
Yeah.
Because if we didn't do security cameras, they make fake cameras that give the impression of it. Get money.
Well, we do have
Amazon.
cameras at the St.
Yeah.
Gabriel plant, but out at well 5, we do not.
Yeah.
So that will be something, that will probably be the next well that we are going to have assessed. And we'll look at additional security
Yeah.
and whatever other components we can.
David?
When you say golf course, is this the old Azusa Greens golf
Yes.
course? Okay, that's gonna be permanently closed, isn't it? Aren't they converting that to houses or something like? that?
The area, I believe, where that well is, will be houses. But as I understand, they're gonna just open up a 9-hole golf course.
Okay.
So we will be having discussions. We've already reached out to Azusa to talk with the builder so we can get that area security and access.
No,
All
but
right.
is that the extent of your presentation? Are you complete or?
Yes, that is.
All right, can I have a motion to receive and file?
It's been
Motion.
opened, and I believe Commissioner CC made that first motion. Yes. And we have a second by Commissioner Thomas. I will now conduct oral roll call, and I opened it for voting. Commissioner Thomas. Commissioner CC,
Yes.
Commissioner Lammers,
Aye.
Vice Chair Holmes, Chair Hansen.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thanks, Ron.
Thank you very much.
Okay, moving on to item number 8, fourth quarter water supply report. Water Division Manager Dale Wirt is going to give us an update on that. So Dale, go ahead.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Mr. Chair, before he goes, I need to go pick up my son from the airport. So I can talk to Dale. Maybe he can take me out to lunch and we can get the update. So
Okay, there you go.
Okay.
Thank you. No, not right now.
Darn it.
Thank you. Nice.
Just kidding. No worries.
Thanks, Mike. Hey, Dale, go ahead.
No, no worries. City of Glendora has received 36.94 inches of rainwater as of June 30th, 2023. We were above by 12.94 inches above our average. Our normal average is about 24 inches, but there's been no change or addition to that. Excuse me, up until this point. This is the rainfall comparison between 2021 and 2022, 2023. 2020 and 2021 rain year is in blue, 2021 to 2022 rain year is in red, and 2022 to 2023 is in green. And as you can see, throughout the first two or the last two quarters of those years, the average rainfall has been significantly higher, except for in April and May. Next we have is our imported water deliveries. April through June 2023, the following agencies did not make any deliveries. That is at the bottom, which is Three Valleys Water District and San Gabriel Valley Municipal Water District. The upper district, however, toward the middle to late June, was able to work out with Metropolitan Water District to receive an order that they've been waiting to take of over 125,000 acre feet of water over a 300-day period. The current flow rate at that time was 200 CFS. They had lowered that from about 350 through USG3. They're working with LA County as well as the basin to kind of manage that. As you know, everything is full, everything is overflowing in some cases. So that's their plan, is to modulate and monitor that water through the dam system down into through putting Santa Fe and down the riverbed into the basin over the next 300 days.
Dale, what did you say the flow was out of USG3 right now?
Currently it's 200 CFS. 200. Yeah.
And it's gonna go up or go down?
No, that they're hoping that they can hold that.
Okay.
The problem that they were having spreading it and getting it all to go down, they don't want to pass it over and lose it. So they are monitoring it frequently. More than likely, if they have to, they will actually lower that volume and maybe stretch out the days, but then we're running into the same problem, which is we have too much water and not enough areas to put it.
Yeah.
Strange to be talking that way, but that's currently what's happening in the
They could
basin.
turn on PM26.
Yes, they could have. You are correct. These are pictures. One of the requests from some of the commissioners was to make the pictures more steady as far as the ones that are being shown. So I went out and marked some spots. These will be the spots that you'll be seeing. However, if there's something else that you'd like to see, please let us know ahead of time. I'll make sure those photographs get in there. On the left is the San Gabriel River, San Gabriel Reservoir as of March 22nd, 2022. And there on the right is the San Gabriel Reservoir on June 29th, 2023. You'll notice that the water level has dropped significantly. They're going to be dredging in there again. So they're moving water to the bottom and rediverting the water coming into there. This is Morris Reservoir with pictures taken at the same time period. On the left, Morris Reservoir as of March 22nd, 2022. On the right, it's Morris Reservoir as of June 29th, 2023. If you look at the ring, we've discussed that on our tours, which is if you look up in the background, it's that white looking marking against the hillside. You might even notice that in June, it's actually lower. They were releasing water in preparation for San Gabriel lowering and making more room for that water there. They increased that minimum pool by a little bit. That is USG3. If you look off in the background, that is the old torpedo launch from back in the history there. Down in the bottom right-hand corner, you can see USG3. That is or was currently at that time the 200 CFS that we were talking about. We are currently just about 30 days in, so we've got about another 250 days left to go. Rain and snowpack conditions as of June 30th, 2023, which is kind of important here. And just to give a brief description, I'm going to talk about percent of normal. Remember, that's for this time period, months of June and July. So it may seem kind of high, but usually we're quite around zero, which you'll see in the next slide. So the Northern Sierra snowpack at that time was 122% of normal for that time period. The upper Colorado River Basin also was 124% of normal for that time period, ending in June. Storage on the Colorado water systems, Lake Powell at 38% and Lake Mead at 31%. I checked yesterday, there's been a small increase at Lake Mead at about 4 feet, which really doesn't change that percentage at all. And Lake Powell has gone down about 1.5 feet, so it doesn't really change that percentage at all. They're pretty much holding steady. Storage in the California system due to heavy rain precipitation is at 99%, if not 100% in most of the reservoirs. And if you've been watching any of the news, they just consistently show the rivers that are full, diversions that are happening. Again, the state of California water supply allocation was lifted at 100% and is still at 100% as of April 20th of 2023. In this slide, I've tried to show you guys kind of a difference. If you look at the state of California slide, you'll see the Northern Sierra, Central Sierra, and Southern Sierra. To the left, that percentage is based on the amount of snow that was there in April. So there was 13% of the Northern Sierra snowpack available as of June 30th, using April as the guide. Then you go down and we have 16% in Central Sierra, 17% in Southern. The percentage number on the right-hand side has to do with that particular time period, which would be June 30th. So the numbers are particularly higher because normally there is no snow there. The update that I have currently for that section and that slide, excuse me, I'm sorry. For the Northern Sierra and the Trinity area, you're at 0%. So they have no more snow left in that area. Central Sierra, you're at about 1,000% normal for now, which means they have more snow than they've had there normally. So in the Southern Sierra, we still have more snow than normally. And we're down to 2% of what we had in April for both of those zones. Key well information as of June 23rd, 2023, at Baldwin Park Key Well, water elevation was 232.6, an increase of 27.7 feet over a 3-month period. It's only gone down 2 feet, which is very good for this time of year compared to the years that we've had before. And we're hoping that we can get through the next couple hot months and maybe start again recovering. They're not sure if we just maybe have slight oversaturation in some of the perk zones and the percolation is slowing down. And you'll be able to see in our production numbers that I show why that may make more sense. These are just the numbers as shown in April for well production and met purchasing. No met water was purchased in the last quarter, which is January, February, March. April, May, and June, we produced 600.4 acre feet in April, 704.4 acre feet in May, and in June we produced 729.4 acre feet. This is the well production and met purchase water graph. Fiscal year 2022 is kind of the off-white color, and fiscal year 2023 is in the red. As you can see, we produced less water this year, fiscal year, than last year. That has a lot to do, I think, with just the general conservation of water based on the heavy rains that we have had, as well as being able to have a good conservation message and group going out here too is really helpful. So it actually aligns with Armando's numbers that he had. Going to our water system tours. We took our second group out to our facilities on June 1st. We covered Azusa Canyon, San Gabriel River, LA County Spreading Grounds, and the San Gabriel Pumping Plant. Here's just a few pictures. The one on the left, we're looking at the outflow from the San Gabriel Reservoir, the dam there. One on the right, we're at the chlorine facility at San Gabriel plant. Actually, no, take that back. That is the water yard. That is the chlorine facility at the water yard. That concludes my report. Unless you have any other questions, I ask. If so, please receive and file.
Okay, questions, Pat?
With the budget for this year, or for the 2022-23 year, I presume took into account needing to purchase water. Would that be correct? Was there something in the budget for needing to purchase water?
That is correct. It was decreased, just due to the fact that we knew we had an abundance of rain.
Right.
And so generally when we purchase water is summer months, anywhere from, I would say June till September. But again, due to the rains, we did decrease that
Okay.
budget, but we still have some funds in there in the event that we need to do operational rehabilitation on our plants.
Okay, that's what I was gonna ask. So the budget was decreased. So the funds that would have been allocated, did that just go back into the?
Into the water fund.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
into the water fund, or it's reallocated into other items for
Okay,
water.
gotcha,
Right,
okay.
right.
And then I'm trying to think of the right way to say it. So with the abundance of snowpack and this year, and I don't know if this is even can be answered, with the supply as it is right now, if we just assume, let's just say that there's no more rain this year, no more rain going into the beginning of early part of next year. And I hope I asked this the right way. How long will this seemingly good situation carry us for? So if we just don't have any more rain, and let's just say that we don't have an early 2024 rainy season like we had this year, at what point will it be, okay, shoot, now things are starting to get low and we have to start kind of going back into that, more heavily pushing the conservation and
Well,
maybe purchasing water and so
locally, I
forth.
think
Is there a way to
would,
answer that?
we would be a little bit quicker on reductions locally. But overall in the state, most of the big purveyors that run those reservoirs have done exceptionally well during the drought. They'll do exceptionally well with the abundance that they have. So when we talk about that, what I mean to say is the groundwater from our wells, that'll be more dramatically affected over a shorter period of time. Our ability to buy water, like for Metropolitan, we'll have, that'll actually be more of a long-standing over the next couple of years, if that should happen. And I'm hoping not. I'm hoping we get an average. If we get another great, well, over average year, that's fine. But I think if we can keep picking up another couple average years, it'll actually still help the groundwater situation as well as the surface water situation that we
Okay.
have here in the state.
So if anything, in the more near term, our local groundwater supply would decrease, but the purchase, the ability to purchase is still going to be there for
Yeah.
longer term. Okay. All
And
right,
I
thank
think
you.
probably the long-term vision also is to rehab more of the wells and be able to produce more of your own local groundwater.
That for sure.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, we have a motion to receive and file the water supply outlook.
And I opened it for motion. Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Thomas and
second.
seconded by Commissioner CC.
Click on it.
Now conduct oral roll call. Commissioner Thomas,
Aye.
Commissioner CC,
Yes.
Commissioner Lammers,
Aye.
Vice Chair Holmes. Oh, that's right,
Absent.
he left. And Chair Hansen.
Aye.
Let the record show, a motion carries 4-0 with one absent.
Yeah, you're not getting anything. Yeah. We'll get you next time.
Verbally got some.
Okay, moving on to the commission staff closing comments. Any commissioners want to say anything?
The only comment I'll make is, I've been to 3 or 4 meetings and your guys' presentations are always very well presented and the information. And for a newer guy like me, it really helps to learn about our system and expenses and so forth. So thank you for the job you guys do. And also for the responses, like you were talking about, getting out there on some of those, some of those main breaks and so forth. I mean, it's nice to live in a city that I have no idea how other cities operate, maybe some better, worse, whatever, but it's nice to know that we are as reactive, with that and serving the people of the city as well as you guys do. So thank you for that.
I'd like to thank staff for the tour. It was very informative. It was a nice day and you guys, again, do a great presentations on everything. So great job. I do have maybe one future request. What might be of value to the commissioners is to have a presentations on some of the agencies that we deal with, such as the Maine San Gabriel Basin Water Master, Three Valleys Municipal Water District, the Metropolitan Water District, LA County Public Works, just sort of an overview of the relationship that the city of Glendora has with these different agencies and how they impact us.
Absolutely. We will look to provide that report at our next quarterly meeting.
Great.
And yeah, that would actually be
I
very
agree.
helpful. I mean, I'm learning a lot here. I'm kind of being a nerd and reading on my own and learning and trying to understand these relationships. But yeah, whatever can be presented during these
Yeah.
meetings would be most helpful.
Be great.
That would be helpful. I'd like to see maybe the top 20 users of water users in the city. Or whatever list we have of the rankings.
Absolutely.
So just in case, Assistant Public Works Director Chisholm, I am putting down that there's a future agenda item request for that presentation, motion made by Chair Hansen and seconded by Commissioner CC.
Great. With that, the meeting's adjourned at 7:16. Thank you, everybody.